know, it was only about 5 or 6 years ago, if you're getting a home espresso, people were saying, you gotta spend a lot of money on the grinder. And one common recommendation was this guy, a 10 kilo behemoth. This is the Mazzer Mini, okay, with a mod. Now you can get these used for pretty cheap, but new in the electrical version, this sucker costs 1,300 bucks. But do you still need to spend so much money on a grinder? I'm not so sure. Look at this sucker. This right here is the Shardor 64mm grinder. Now this guy, of course, it's not fancy by any means. It's made out of plastic, you know. It's got a digital screen on it. The whole body is made out of plastic. It only weighs 3 kilos. But the parts that matter are made out of metal. Removing the collar here will reveal all the metal inside. The metal burr carrier inside, as well as the burr chamber. It's all made out of metal and 64mm burrs. Now, I'm not trying to say that the build quality of the Shardor compares to the Mazzer Mini. Certainly not. This is made out of die-cast metal. This sucker should last for years and years. But this is really made for coffee houses. If you just want something for household use, why not get something like this guy? This Shardor only costs $150. And I have to tell you, it's capable. In fact, it's more than capable. So in this video, we are going to unbox it. We're going to make an espresso with it and just get accustomed to what espresso can look like for only $150. So let's just talk about a few specs. I took the burrs out, and in fact they are 64mm. I measured them and they look to have a normal conventional kind of espresso geometry on them. The next important thing with the grinder, of course, is the adjustment collar. And the adjustment collar on here is a little bit reminiscent of something like a Mazzer. So you got this knurled rod on the side here, and you make the adjustments with that. What's nice about it too is it's got a grinding range on there from espresso to mocha, pour over, and cold brew. So it gives you some indication on there. It's also got an electric display. So it tells me 10.5 seconds right now for the 2 bean. The 1 bean shows me 6 seconds. And that is the first thing I'd like to highlight. This grinder is really, really fast. It's been grinding for espresso over 2 grams a second. That is much faster than even the Specialita that I've been using. So very fast grinder, makes good grinds, and here is the other kicker. This sucker actually does a really good job with retention. I couldn't even believe it. What I put in, I seem to get out. Pretty nuts. So you can use this big bean hopper to put a bunch of beans in, and you can just use it with your portafilter if you like. It comes with this little portafilter holder that you can screw in there, and you can get your grinds just like that, no problem. I've been preferring to use it actually as a single doser because it does so well for that. So I'm just going to remove that guy and use it as a single doser. Something else to note, if you press both buttons at the same time, then it'll go into continuous mode. If you press the button once, it will just keep on going. And it will count the time upwards. That's about it. Function-wise, it has got on the side here a main power switch, so that's kind of convenient. It's got a 200-watt motor on it, and you know, it's not a heavy grinder. It's relatively light, but considering the price, the size of the burrs, the speed, and the espresso I'm getting, man, I am more than satisfied. And I feel like I really need to share this deal. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and make ourselves an espresso. So it's already evening. So the beans I'm going to use are these ones here. This is Lavazza Deck. I've had pretty good luck with Lavazza, and these are the blue ones. So what that means is they give you some indication as to how you should run your shot, such as for a double shot, 14.5 grams. That's what I'm gonna go for. 20 kilos of pressure, and about 92 degrees, and 25 to 30 seconds for our extraction. So let's go ahead and do that. That's what the beans look like right there. And I'm using this Me Coffee scale today. It's pretty cheap too. I think that's somewhere around $30. And it's got an auto on, which I think is really nice. It's also got a glass top on it, so I just like using it. I find it pretty aesthetic. 14.6, call it good. So let's put the beans in there. I got it set at 18. That's where I was for a previous bean. Let's just see how it works out for this one. What I do find a little bit annoying about this grinder is it goes to sleep very quickly, so you gotta wake it up. Okay. I got 14.4 out that time, so at 8.2 grams, but often I'm getting either 0.0 or 0.1. It's doing, in general, a very good job. That's what the espresso grounds look like right there. Now let's do some puck prep and pour these into my bottomless portafilter here. I'm going to do a little bit of WDT as well, of course. And a good tamp. Excellent. And that's what it looks like. Okay, all right, so this is what our shot looks like. It's 29 seconds and 30 grams out. And I do quite like Lavazza decaf. Let's see how this one tastes. I find it simply smooth. Chocolatey, balanced, a little velvety, and that can be achieved at that level of quality and that expedience with this price of a grinder. That is pretty ridiculous. Now, some people are going to ask if this Shardor can also grind light roast. I would call it a pretty light roast right there, at least on the lighter side of medium, with an espresso setting on there. No struggles. So with all the positive things about the grinder, what's negative about it? I really don't have any nitpicking to do in that price range. The only thing is, okay, it's a no-name brand, Shardor. Who knows Shardor? Could it break someday and you may have difficulty finding parts or after-sales service? Sure, who knows? I really don't know. But man, for the price, what I really like about this is that simply it's going to get a lot of people into espresso. And you can do a filter coffee with it as well. I have done a few of these and I've had no problems with paper stalling or anything like that. I'm not an expert on pour over by any means, but for me, worked out fine. So nice grinder, fast, the price is right. It's maybe just a little on the loud side, but does a nice job. So I'm gonna put links for the grinder. I'm gonna put a link for this Me Coffee scale because I really like this sucker. This guy's nice. And I'm gonna put a link for these decaf beans because I like these decaf beans by Lavazza. They're nice. All right, guys, until next time, I say happy coffee drinking, happy espresso drinking. Bye now.